Round of applause just to warm things up.
Yep.
Yeah, and I want to quickly introduce myself. I'm Dr. Cassie Sade Turnipseed, and I'll be hosting this afternoon's discussion about the veterans of the civil rights movement. And I think it would be most appropriate for me to first put my glasses on so I can read my notes and properly introduce these two fine gentlemen. Who's
Chief Ray.
Chief Ray?
Yeah.
Okay, Chief
Ray.
Ray.
Ray. Assistant Chief Ray. Assistant Chief Ray.
Okay. Well, we were whispering because we have a special guest in the audience, and we do want to make sure to acknowledge him, especially since they're Jackson, Mississippi's finest, the police department and the back officer,
Assistant Chief Ray.
Chief Wade,
And his commander.
and his commanders. We want to say thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your service and protecting us as well as you do. We do appreciate you.
If I could, Joseph Wade, Assistant Chief of the Jackson Police Department, 47 years. Right.
Morning, everyone. My name is Tanya Harris. I'm the Deputy Chief of Jackson Police Department, Patrol Operation. I've been with Jackson Police Department.
Good afternoon. My name is David, Deputy Chief of Administrative Service. I've been with Jackson Police Department for 31 years.
Another round of applause. Thank you so much. I'm sorry?
Chief Ray's son is in my class.
Oh, Chief Ray's son is in Reverend Banks' class.
And to come support, Mr. Banks, my son is one of his students, so I hope this will help my son out too. But we support Chief. And he's one of our lead chaplains also for the police department.
Okay,
And Dr. Lack.
and Dr. Lackey. Another celebrity in the room, Dr. Lackey. Give it up for Dr. Lackey. All right, so as we get into our program, I want to just kind of preface it with what you probably have already read, but this is the Black History Month celebration. And we are so happy to have a conversation with Dr. Bobby Rush and Reverend Baron Banks. And the quote that is very appropriate by Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. that you've probably read on the flyer. I'm going to read it though, if you hadn't. The blues tells the story of life difficulties. And if you think for a moment, you realize that they take the hardest realities of life and put them into music, only to come out with some new hope or sense of triumph. This is triumphant music, and that's for sure. And that's for sure. So who we have today is one of my very, very, very special men in my life. He's the honorary chair of the Cotton Pickers of America Monument Project. And he is also the two-time Grammy-winning legend, Blues Hall of Fame, 6-time Grammy nominee, and 14-time Blues Music Award winner with cameo in Netflix original Dolomite Is My Name, starring Eddie Murphy, and a recent autobiography. Bobby Rush has been making records for nearly 70 years and has more than 400, I said 400, recordings, 75-year releases, and now 27 studio albums to his name. He has finally told his story in his autobiography, I Ain't Studying You. Y'all know that word, I ain't studying you. I Ain't Studying You, My American Blues Story. It's in bookstores today via Hatchett's Books, who have published Keith Richards and Buddy Guy and Tina Fey, just to name a few. The book's back cover includes testimonials from Mavis Staples, Dan Aykroyd, Talking Heads, Jerry Harrison, ZZ Top, Billy Gibson, on and on and on. He is, as he has told me, how did you say it? BB King is the biggest star from Mississippi. Bobby Rush is the biggest star in Mississippi. Give it up for him.
Thank you.
All right, and we also have my colleague, my friend, my Reverend Baron Banks. He's a pastor and a professor from Tula, Mississippi. He's a graduate of Jackson State University's Master of Divinity from the University of Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. He has marched with Dr. Martin Luther King while a student at Jackson State University. And he is one of our esteemed members in the History and Philosophy Department. And please give it up for my colleague, my friend, Reverend Banks. So with that, I think it's always important to start with the definition of things. What are we talking about? We're talking about civil rights, right? How does that relate to human rights? And what is the difference, really? So I just want to define that right now, and civil rights versus human rights. Human rights are rights one acquires by being alive. Civil rights are rights that one obtains by being a legal member of a certain political state. Both human rights and civil rights protect a human being against injustice, maltreatment, oppression, yet the struggle continues for both here in America. So I'm going to ask you why. That's the opening question. Why does that struggle continue, in your words, here in America?
Well, let me just start by saying to all of the friends who are here, Turnipseed, it continues because somehow the light is on, but this is not the true light. The light that was brought to us was through not only Dr. King, but through Gandhi, who was really a teacher of Dr. Martin Luther King. And let me just say Jesus, because Martin Luther King got his teaching from Gandhi and Jesus. 100%, we are not there at this point with Gandhi. And even sometimes we're not sure in this 20th century who Jesus is. And really, we celebrate Martin's birthday and the time he was assassinated, but I'm not too sure. So that's why the struggle is still here. We got to still realize and understand that the dream of Martin Luther King, the teaching of Gandhi and Mandela, Fannie Lou and others, and they all wasn't just African Americans, but they was our proud ones that we work with and walk with. So that's why the struggle continues. We're not sure yet whether justice still comes from nonviolence and justice still comes from pursuing equal rights for all God's children. So that's why the struggle continues.
Thank you for that. Dr. Rush?
I don't know why, but I know one thing here, we haven't solved the problem. A lot of things have changed, but so many things remain the same. And I'm looking around the building today so y'all can understand where I'm coming from now. November the 10th this year, I'm 88 years old.
Woo!
I've been around a long time. I saw it go up and come down. Most of the things have changed, remain the same. Even down to the day when I came here, I want to come here so bad because I want to share something with you. That I'm the oldest blues singer in the world right now with this many records. I didn't say that a few musicians, the older than I am, but they don't have 400 records as I do. Not that I'm so great, but God has blessed me to be around a long time because the blues is the root and the mother of all music. If you don't like the blues, you probably don't like your mama.
Say that.
And so I think what we have to do is go back to the root of being yourself and getting the root of this, of life about us as people and Black people and get the history of it. Yeah. Love it, because everybody's trying to take this away from from you all and myself all across the country. How you doing? But we got to have the history of the blues because it ain't many times that we're going to be here to tell this. Let me tell you young people something. Y'all heard of Sam Cooke. I'm saying this open because I got my officer back in the back. I want them to hear this too. Sam Cooke just didn't die. Martin Luther King tried to do what I'm doing for us and what we all need. He didn't make it. Ray Charles just didn't make it. They planted the dope on him and the whole bit. B.B. King had to sell out to get known, so did I'm one of the few guys who are left. I don't have no rings on my hand, no marks on me. I haven't did everything just right. I don't claim to be. There's a lot of, I don't drink, smoke, or get high, no form of fashion, but I still look at the big leg ladies. That ain't good either.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry.
That ain't good. But I laugh, I want you to laugh with me because this is part of the history. I want you to know that. We're gonna find out that Michael Jackson just didn't die. Prince just didn't die. I want y'all to hear this. I can speak some things now I couldn't speak when I was a young man because I've been to the mountaintop at 88 years old. I can say some things about some things that I know that ain't threatened to my life now. I want y'all to grab this because you can get information from me. I have some information.
Mhm.
When y'all do something like this, call on Bobby Rush. I live right here in this city. I have some information. And the one information is my man who has the microphone don't have a good one. It's off.
Oh, it's on. It's
Oh, it's
on.
on. Okay. All right. I talked about it a little
We
bit.
at HBC, we had some
I
more
understand. I understand. I want you to laugh a little bit because this is not a funny issue. This is a history issue
Mhm.
because I'm part of this history now. I'm part of the history. Part of the history. And we, as we talk, I'll add some more things in because I could talk on and on because when you get 88 years old, you know some things.
Yes, you do. And I want you to just clearly define for these young folk and some old folk, the definition. What is blues music?
Blues music, blues itself is your feeling, is what you feel, is what you've been through, is what you think of, what you know about, or what you think you know about, what you don't know about, what you wish had. And through all the mistake you make in life, if you learn from the mistake, it's really not a mistake, it's a stepping stone to what you should or should not do. That's the blues.
Thank you. Got that? Reverend Banks, what is gospel music or spiritual music?
Papa got a brand new bag. That was James Brown.
Yeah, it was.
But as I tell my students, James Brown, as you know, he was trying to make a message at that point.
Mhm.
And
Papa got a brand new bag.
That's right.
Students, do we have a brand new bag? Baron Banks, do you have a brand new bag? Or are you still wilding in what my friends say here? Let me just give one experience and why I think I can say now, Papa had the brand new bag. In Yazoo City, Mississippi, I was at Stewart Hall and Dr. Turnipseed, just for a minute. I think the experiences should always kind of lead and guide us from our experiences.
Mhm.
I was with my mom and my aunts, and they were shopping in Yazoo City. I hope this don't take her just 2 minutes.
Take your time.
And I wanted an alarm clock for my dormitory room, around 19 years of age. And so I went into the bus station in the little store and got my alarm clock. Then I went over to the stool, the counter, and to order a hamburger. And I was there for about 30 minutes. The lady kept passing me by. Finally, she says, after 30 minutes, sorry, we can't serve you here. Assistant Chief, if it had not been for something on the inside of me, I would probably look at every person of not my color and still have more than just a struggle. Why she waited so long, I wasn't sure, but I found out when I did get up to leave, she said, "We can't serve you." About 5 persons met me at the door. They had been deputized, paid by $10 each to come and get this boy out of this place. Put me in the car by the side of they was very smart, y'all, but they was very dumb too. Put me in the car on the outside of the bus station, called me a few things, and then said, "If you ever come back here again, Ian, we would put you in the river," and they meant it. It was intoxicated, had been drinking. Could you go out and find people who are not clear? I told lies after lies. What's your mother's name? Christine somebody. Why? Because my mother was a school teacher in Chula, Mississippi, Holmes County, and she would be fired right away if her son was in civil rights. End of that story. When I was getting ready to register to vote, they had already fought and beat up a pastor from Lexington, Mississippi, because he was helping people to Julian Bond to help folks to register. But the next 2 days, I was able to go to Lexington to register to vote only because there was some federal registrars with their guns on them to protect us to vote. Why the struggle continues? Because we sometimes, and I wasn't the only person, but I was one of those. And then when James Meredith was shot somewhere around Sanatobia, Mississippi, I think they called it the March for Freedom, and I may have it wrong. He was by himself with a few other people. He was shot, but he was also released out of the hospital to come back to join that march around close to Canton, Mississippi. I told another tale. I told my mother I was going to a church revival. I told Dr. Peoples, which he kind of knew we was involved in civil rights, but at a state supported school, you get kicked out of school for being involved in civil rights. So I with a few Millsap students and a few students from Belhaven and some of us, we went to Canton, Mississippi, stayed all night. The first time I've had tear gas thrown, dogs biting at us. That march was one of the greatest marches in 1967. And so through the experience, that's why I vote. That's why I encourage our young students to vote. To vote. We have people in wheelchairs, men and women of color and others voting more than our own young folks vote. 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 At least you're not gonna get tear gas on you and dog biting you. Don't the struggle will not only continue, we will become what we call in the status quo.
Okay. Well, I want you to tie that into how gospel music facilitated the civil rights movement, and how did it partner with it?
Before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. Go home to my Lord and be free. Sooner I'll be done with the troubles for your hornet of this world. My granddad was blind, was saying that. And so really the blues really lended us to the song that Whitney Houston was saying. And when, the blues, Al Green, you can call the name, you know him better than I do. And so blues and jazz was really the kind of mother bringing of our gospels.
That's right.
All of our people who, not only just Whitney and Mike and others,
Aretha, no.
he can tell you, that's how it kind of blend itself. We call it blend in philosophy.
It grew up in the church.
Exactly.
Right? I've heard that blues music. And go ahead, Bobby.
Well, my daddy was a pastor of 2 churches. My daddy never told me to sing the blues, but he never told me not to. I remember when I was about 6 years old, my cousin gave me a guitar. I hid it from my daddy, I thought. You don't have nothing for your daddy. So one day he said, "Junior, I'm named after my father." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Come here, boy, bring that guitar here." I didn't think he knew I had a guitar. He said, "Bring it here." And he tuned it up. He said, "Let me sing a little song I used to sing to a little lady when I was a little bit older than you." What I thought he was gonna sing about my mom. My mom was in the kitchen cooking. He was sitting there, he had his shirt off. He struck it down. He said, "Me and my gal went to Chinky Pin hunting. She fell down and I saw something." I said, "Oh, Daddy." My dad, I thought he gonna sing glory, glory, hallelujah, when I laid my burden down. I said, sing it again, Daddy. Now, the first verse, she fell down, he saw something. I figured the second verse, well, he gonna tell me what he saw. You know, because I couldn't ask my daddy what he saw, you know. I said, Daddy, sing it again. I went and got me a pencil and paper because I thought he couldn't sing it, draw it. Just let me know what he saw. He went to sing it again. He said, me, my gal went to shaky pin, hun. She fell down and I saw something. My mama said, me don't sing that kind of song to that boy.
Yeah.
He went to sing it again. I said, Daddy, Daddy, here come mama. I said, how big was she, Daddy? Oh, 350-pound boy, about that wide. I said, what's your hand on? He said, nothing but a dress. Now in my little mind. Lady falling down, fat lady, nothing on but a dress. Oh, I could just see it today. I can see it right now. He went to sing it again. He said, me, my gal, with the shaky bin. I said, Daddy, here come mama. My mother walking up behind. Me, my gal, with the shaky bin, hun. She fell down and I kept running. That's all. So I don't know what the song would have been.
I want to know, and I think this is a good segue, why they call it devil's music?
Well, my daddy didn't call it devil music.
Okay,
He didn't ever tell me to sing it. He didn't ever tell me not to sing it.
okay.
You know, this is something let me show you. Someone asked me, said, why do you sing the blues, Bobby Rush? Is it because your woman left you? You can have the blues when your woman leave you, fellas, but you can also have the blues if they stay too long.
Okay. Okay.
Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Have you ever been mistreated by someone you showed up love? Have you ever been mistreated by someone you showed up love? Out of all the men my woman could have left me for, she left me for the garbage man. If I ever get my woman to come back home, I'm gonna buy myself a garbage truck. If I ever get my woman to come back home, I'm gonna buy myself a garbage truck. When my garbage can't get full, I'm gonna take it and dump it way, way out in the woods. That's the blues.
Turnipseed, let me just say, because Bobby probably won't say it, and he probably will. Bobby Rush, Sunday school teacher at his church. See, sometimes we think just because we say church and God, that we are not people of music and of history. He teaches Sunday school at his church. My youngest son, who went to USM, he was one of his keyboardists, but he didn't get him to come to travel with him, but he also told him what happened in Japan. Right. He went to Spain and other places, right. Africa. So Bobby knows that music is powerful. And that's why you're going to announce later on what we're going to have on the 31st. But the blues, even in the church of Barack Obama, when there had been some killings, he didn't know what else to say and how else to deal with it. Right. And what does he do? Amazing grace. He said, this is larger than my presidency, because he was stunned. That's right. He said, I'm tired of coming to funerals. And he did Amazing Grace, which is our universal song that came out of some of the jazz part of it.
You know,
So
that's,
right.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole of who wrote that song, but I do want to have you as a preacher answer the question, why do they call blues the devil's music?
because they was also devilish too,
Mhm,
okay?
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. You don't realize that some things can bring you out of what we call, and in the church, even right now, I've just come from a church on the north side of Jackson, where I'm a part of the Presbyterian church, and they were singing a hymn, and I didn't know the hymn. It's a predominantly all-white church that I help with sometimes. So I started humming.
Mhm.
Because I didn't know the words of some. I didn't know the meaning of some songs that I hadn't really dealt with yet. So, do we know who the devil is? Where's the devil? Come on in, devil. The Bible says we wrestle not with flesh and blood, not but principalities in high places, spirit. So, Martin Luther King always taught us we should overcome. It's a song that we all can deal with together. So, where is the devil? Who is the devil? It's not a person, it's a spirit. And that's why jazz and gospels and blues connect more with us than even sometimes
Mhm,
a gospel song, because it can be devilish too.
mhm. So, let's bring it on back to civil rights and
Mhm.
civil rights music. And I do want to have each of you reflect on, given the context of American history and African people in America and that perpetual struggle that we have clearly defined as still going on. But why are the many phases of this movement so important and still relevant today? I mean, we've gone through Reconstruction, right? After post-slavery and throughout slavery, there's been resistance all the way, with the slavery boats, the ships, every step of the way, we have been resisting. And we are still resisting. I think this is considered the third phase of our civil rights and human rights struggle. But for the young people in this audience, why is the passing of the baton for this movement important for them to understand? And what do they need to understand about the history of this movement in order to carry it forward?
In the blues realm, young people, I'm talking about young Black people, women and men, don't want to be connected, being involved, being called blues singer, because it seemed to be something less than something else, because someone had wrote about the blues being something less than something else. You see, that's what makes young people don't understand where they're going with the music, because we are leaders. We are leaders. And I looked around for the past year and a half, and I looked at my brothers sitting here now. Just 5 or 6 years ago, you weren't wearing your hair like you wear now. We are trendsetters. I'm a trendsetter. God had really blessed me to be here long enough to see the trends. It ain't nothing new, because it ain't nothing new under the sun, but it's new to you young people. Let me tell you a little story about me. My great granddaddy from right here in Jackson, Mississippi, I tell it in my book. My great grandmother lived with a man called Van Spivey. He's a white man. As a slave, she had 6 kids by him. His wife had 5 kids by him. When he was on his dying bed here in Mississippi, he wanted to divide his land up to his children, and my great grandmama was one of them. So the white side of the family, which had brothers and sisters, took them to Udover, Arkansas, dropped them in a barn. They raised themselves. That's how my dad met my mom, and I was born in Louisiana. But my roots is right here, Jackson, Mississippi. My mom is blue-eyed and blonde hair. My mom was my babysitter when I went to school. My daddy was her chauffeur when we was out. He was her husband and my father at home only with 10 children. And my grandfather was married twice, had 18 children by each woman. And my grandmother had 7 sets of twins back to back. And he died at 106. My grandmother died at 111 with 36 kids. And my uncles and aunties, that's 36 of them. I didn't know but 26 of them, but 21 of them live over 100 years old. So I'm just showing you a little history. So you're looking at a guy who, like my mom being blonde hair and blue eyes. I never talked about this in the earlier. I talk about it in my book. Right here from Jackson, Mississippi, from here to Carthage, Mississippi, all of them. I came back looking for my family in 1983. That's how I got back in Jackson, Mississippi. Look, and I found them, but it's nobody black. That's part of history.
Yes, it is.
So we don't have that many white guys in here. I said one, but that could be my cousin. Hey, cuz.
You guys prepare your questions. We're gonna have time for that as well. So did you have any?
Yes, B.B. King wrote a song, Going to Chicago.
Yeah,
Sorry, I can't
take you.
take you. There's nothing in Chicago a woman like you can do. And I said, and by the way, B.B. King was Riley King before he started singing.
That's right.
Am I saying?
That's right.
In Enola, Mississippi. My mom and my aunt sang with him in the church. His name was Riley King then. Then he came to be B.B. But I said, what is that song? Going to Chicago. Sorry, I can't carry you. There's nothing in Chicago a woman like you can do. Because even though he was singing the blues, he saw the woman as a gifted, great person. So you can't deal with Chicago. That ain't for you yet. And that's why I tell our students, you know, if we don't know the history and understanding of why we sang the freedom songs and why it brought us through some of the things that Dr. King was trying to get us through. I can't rap, but this guy can rap.
Yes, you can.
He can rap. But I only want to hear the rap when I can get something out of it. You know, I don't want to talk about the other part of this.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Yeah.
and he can rap, but the reason why I like Stevie Wonder so much, and some others, and then all just African American, because they have a message in their music. I can see the blues and the gospel in their music.
It's the roots of all.
And the roots of it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to say that.
But I want to tell the young people this is, I'm blessed because I have 397 records, before 400 something I've done. God had really blessed me at 88 years old with 300 something songs. You know, I can remember at least 350 of those songs today. I can remember 60 years ago, I wrote a song, said, in a little shack down by the bay, not far from New Orleans. I met this pretty woman down there when I was about 19. She went and told her daddy she wanted to marry me. And the look on her daddy's face really was a sight to see. He said, get out of here with you and don't you come back no more. Well, I wanted to meet her daughter like a young man oughta, but he didn't want no blues singer like Bobby Rush getting married to his daughter. When I went by the house that day, he met me at the door. Dad, mom, big brother John, the dog named Bo, saying, get out of here and don't you come back no more. Well, her brothers and sisters took the dogs on me, made them tear off all my clothes. I was running fast trying to get away down a dusty road. I was running fast trying to get away across the railroad track. I could hear the kids throwing rocks at me every time I stopped to look back, saying, get out of here, don't you come back no more. When I sneaked down to get married, judge to do this, I'm to swear to take this woman for your lawful wife and not a one-night love affair. Before I could open my mouth to say I do, guess who walked to the door? Dad, mom, big brother John, and the dog named Bo. Well, I thought right then if I wanted to get married anyway, I had to find a way to elope. I decided to go to Las Vegas to get away from my nosy folk. Soon as I got to Las Vegas, the same day I walked in, it was all her kin, all her friends, that dog again. Now I said that we talking about the rap. The rap had been watching me a long time. Because if it wasn't for Bobby Rush, wouldn't be no 50 cent, be a dime or quarter, something like that.
And you had influence on Michael Jackson.
Yeah. And they everything, but yeah. He got that on his own.
Okay.
But I just thank God for all of you. Y'all, and I'm telling you and whoever in the thought, I'm right here in Jackson, Mississippi. Maybe I have something to offer. Pass something back to you, because it's a shame, because I'm about the oldest, or at least I'm the oldest one here in Mississippi. Call me if I can be any help, any kind of way. Open your eyes up to something that maybe you haven't thought about, I don't know about. I don't know it all, but God have blessed me to be smart enough to know I don't know anything. Because when you tell what you know, Maine won't talk long,
Mm.
because Maine don't know nothing.
Let's deal with the fact that you are both veterans of this movement, this generation's movement of civil rights. And what do you walk away with? What are your feelings today? Do you
Let
have
me,
hope for the
answer,
future?
because I'm serious about Reverend Banks. He's involved with a lot of things, because he's still involved with what my dad was involved with, being a pastor in the church, because the church is where everybody form the meeting. They have the meeting before the meeting. People still doing that. But we got to understand that the churches and the pastors and the preachers had a lot to do with having the foundation of things that's going on now.
Mhm.
A lot of times they don't get the credit for what they have said, what they have done. But thank you for what you have done, for what you're doing, what you plan to do. Thank you and all the other preachers and churches that have the door open for us to have a meeting to learn how to handle the thing before the meeting.
Yeah.
We talking about the politics of the meetings.
Yeah, yeah, give it up for the preachers, y'all. They try. They try.
Yeah.
It ain't easy out here.
Yeah, let me just say, and our chair of our department, Dr. Azevedo was there, Dean was here. I would not teach a class. I would not preach in a church that I can't deal with my experience. So thank you, because you know how I teach. I see Mad Drummer, Dr. Henderson, bowing his head, because you're the same. If I can't talk about the experience, and not only just about Socrates and Plato, Augustine was great, but I got to talk about my roots and my experience, which base come out of, I didn't major in music, but I know probably every gospel and even some blues song, because that's the way I grew up. And so thank you for letting me teach that way. And that's what we need to do. Faculty, we need to teach our students, because they won't get it anywhere else. At Ole Miss now, you can't graduate. You can't graduate with a requirement. You got to take African American history.
And
We
you
had,
and you sure can't get it in Florida.
right, and we have it here, but they can't graduate, and it's required for everybody. Engineers, lawyers, doctors, and all.
Yeah,
That's still our struggle.
yeah, yeah, globally.
Public history, you talked about so much.
Oh, yeah, and don't get me started on public history and the whole need to build monuments and historic signs and markers so that you will remember these people, okay? So you don't necessarily have to take the full class or read the whole book, but walking down the street in your community, historic markers are in order for people like Bobby Rush and Reverend Banks. And so I want to open it up to the audience. Yes.
Before you open it up, I just want to say thank you, the police officer in position, what you guys do. And not just because, thank you. You do a good job for doing what you're doing, because you have pressures on YouTube, because this is part of the Black history. This is part of the Black history. Police and the servicemen, we was coming in today, a couple of servicemen, we want to take a picture with them,
Yeah.
although we just give them a little time,
Yeah.
because they do a great job in doing what they're doing. And we wanted to take our hats off to the people on front line like that.
And that was the youth who recognized you right away.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was beautiful.
yeah.
Dr. Anderson.
Well, I just want to say that I would have the privilege of playing Bobby Rush, and I did at New Stage.
Wait, I didn't recognize this Bobby Rush.
Yeah. And in next week, so I'll be traveling to New York.
That's right.
The guy who wrote the play on the life of Bobby Rush invited me to do my part. So I'll be traveling to New York for 2 weeks, and we're going to be staging
Wow.
the life of Bobby Rush, slipping through the cracks.
Oh, man. I didn't recognize you, man. Listen, next month, they're putting my life story in the play in New York City. Broadway play on Bobby Rush's life. So that's what he's speaking of. So y'all get to hear some other side of me, good side, the upside, the downside, the ugly side, and then I talk about skinny ladies and the fat ladies and all of them. Well, that's what I do, that's what I do. But thank you for coming, thank you. Didn't recognize who you were, Bobby Rush.
Bobby Rush. Yes.
I would just like to say, congratulations to you, Bobby, for being honored over the years, getting your flowers while you can smell them. As you know, you and I, we have a real tight relationship. I enjoy doing what I do. Nevertheless, I have a question that I think you may be able to shed some light on, that being, in light of the fact that you are a two-time Grammy Award winner, here from Jackson, formerly in home of Louisiana, I know history. However, being a two-time Grammy Award winner, just as Beyonce and all the rest of them are able to get on the big stage and express and show off their music, how far away do you think that a blues musician is away from being actually recognized on that particular stage in this country today?
I think the Broadway play is gonna put me there. I've been honest with you. I think some of the things I have missed out on is that because I'm this black man who proud to be black, and certain thing I didn't do or to take back seat because who I am. And if I die standing up, it's okay. But I'm not gonna bend down to certain things. Certain thing I'm not gonna do because I'm hungry, I'm a black man, but I'm a proud black man.
Hey, say that. Say that. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I want to hear from the students. Come on, extra credit. Good.
Sorry, I have a question about how do you feel about like this new age of activism? Like how do you feel about new age activism?
As activists,
Yes,
okay.
I didn't hear the
How do
question.
you feel about
the new age of activism.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about like the new push?
Black Lives Movement?
That's good.
I want to know what you think that we can improve on.
like the Black Lives Matter movement?
Yeah,
and the new age?
but here's what I think, to be honest with you.
Right.
Black lives do matter. What matter most is our vote. Because we always gonna have this thing about what for someone.
I
think
hear you.
about you.
You know what she don't eat, you take it
Here's
home,
what I
she'll
do.
eat later.
I try to be good at what I do. If you don't like me, I say, well, you say, I don't like old Bobby Rush, but damn, he good. That's all what matters. Be good at what you do. I'm good at what I do. I'm not bragging about it. I'm not talking about it, but I'm good at what I do, man.
Reverend Banks.
This is what I do as a blues singer. I'm good at what I do. I
Yeah.
just got to recording a song a couple of days ago. We come a long way, but I got a long way to go. The thing I used to do down in Louisiana, I won't do anymore. I used to carry water 15 miles for 50 cents a day. It's a shame a boy 9 years old had to work so hard every day. I used to pick cotton in a cotton field where I used to live. Now I'm still picking cotton, but I own a piece of the field. So take a look at me, tell me what you see. I got the shackle off my feet and the chain off my mind.
Reverend, do you have anything in response to him?
I'd like to intervene 1 second, ma'am. I am a student at Jackson State University. I'm a return student, and I'm here to finish the job I started at first, and that is to get my BS in journalism and media studies.
Congratulations.
Love you for that.
All right, what advice do you give to the New Age movement?
Whether it be a football player, whether it be an artist, whether it be engineering. My dad served in World War II. Martin Luther King has 2 words in his book called, "Where do we go from here?" Student, and I think that is a great question, and Bobby dealt with it. Where do we go from here, chaos or community? What is chaos? When we as our own colored race got to get together too. What is chaos? Chaos is when we don't try to correct a student in the class when they don't want to speak but getting ready to graduate. Speak to them. Tell them it's important to speak. I don't bow down. Police officers matters. Nurses matters. Chinese matter. But that don't mean that we are all straight all the time. So we got to have a movement to let us know. And so what chaos is, Martin Luther King said, chaos is when we can't speak to each other. And we in the same color scheme. What is chaos? How do we bring community? So I want to be a part of the movement that brings community. I want to be a part of the community that brings folks together.
Yeah, yeah. And the important message in both are that.
All right, we've got a question from the chat from Cynthia Adams for Reverend Banks. Mr. Adams wants to know if you were at JSU during the Afro-American Society Club.
I graduated in 1969, 2 years after the Green Plaza shooting. So now the club that you're talking about, I'm not sure. What year was that? Or did he say a year?
I didn't get a year.
Okay. If it was after, it was between 64 and 69, yes. If it was not between those years, then no.
Was there a follow-up to that, or they just wanted to know?
So I got from that question, but there's another question in chat from Dr. Billingsley.
Mhm.
What role did the blues play in the civil rights movement?
Oh,
That's been answered, but go ahead.
lots. Let me give you a little history about me so you know how to what role the blues played. In 1947, I left Louisiana and went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas with my father, who was a pastor of a church. That's when I met B.B. King, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Water, Little Walter, John Lee Hooker, Smoker Hall. I wanted to go to Chicago because everybody had told me if I get to Chicago, it'll be like heaven for me. I would be free to eat where I want to eat, didn't have to drink out of same fountain. I could sleep in the hotel I wanted to sleep and go places I couldn't go in the southern state. I didn't have enough money to get to Chicago. So I bought me a ticket for $8.12 from Pine Bluff to Memphis, Tennessee, where B.B. King, Sonny Boy Williams, and Rufus Thomas were working on Beale Street. I worked on Beale Street for $3.50 a week until I got enough money to go to St. Louis, where Albert King, Chuck Berry was. I worked on the street for making $2 or $3 a week until I got enough money to get to Chicago. When I got to Chicago, I said, here I am, I'm in heaven. But it wasn't so. The Muddy Water taking me to Blue Island, where our man wanted to hire me for $7.50 a night, me and the band. I got the job, worked there, and I hired Muddy Water, give him $5.50 for one night on every Wednesday. But I worked behind a curtain every night where they didn't want to hear my music, didn't want to see my face. Now didn't know what to do from that because it was all white audience. And I remember a couple of weeks later, I wanted to go to Chess to get a contract. So I went down to Chess. Bo Dillon was there, Muddy Water was there, Little Walter was there, Johnny Hooker was there, Smoker Hall, Little Walter, Jimmy Reed was there. So there was a pamphlet on the table, said 10 and 208 was journeyed. So I told Bo Diddley, I said, man, this is gonna be good for us as colored guys. At that time it was colored thing. And he said, he laughed at me. By that time, Leonard and Phil was on Chess record. One came out and said, what are you guys laughing at? They said, Bobby Rush said, he said, Bobby Rush said, the union is merging. Says, where you get that information? It's off the desk. By that time, Phil walked out. It was two brothers, Phil and Leonard. He walked out and said, what are you guys laughing at? They said, Bobby Rush says the union is merging. He threw it back at me and said, what does that say, boy? Talking to me. And I read it to him. He turned around and told his brother, so we can't use that nigga because he can read. So I didn't get the job. That's why I'm independent today, because I didn't get the job.
we have a follow-up on the African American Club, just to.
Okay.
make sure. Mr. Adams' grandmother's, one of, Mr. Adams' grandmother's graduated in 68, and one in 71. And he brings this up because the club was stopped, because during that time, the students in the clubhouses were being raided. My grandmother was in it, and her house was raided, so they threw a lot of them in the books away. And we got it to get another one in the chat.
Okay. I'm gonna get to you, but I want to finalize your question about the modern day movement. And it is so important that you hear what they both said and how to avoid chaos, you need to know and understand history. And that's the whole definition and meaning of Sankofa. You know, to go back, you know, that bird that looks back so that it can propel forward, and the Ghanaian Adinkra symbols, right? The indigenous, and so much of all of this is about being rooted in your culture. And that's African history and understanding the methods that we use to save ourselves coming out of Africa going forward. You got to know your history. You got to know thyself.
That's right.
In order to propel yourself forward. Okay, so that's how I wanted to end that. But go ahead, brother.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
So my quick question for you two gentlemen right there. I hear you always talking about voting. I am part of the NAACP. So one of the things that we constantly talk about is like voting education. So what were some things that you guys are working on? Because Dr. Derrick, you say you were part of the civil rights movement. So we wonder like what's something that we can do to like help make students like want to go vote more? Because like voting is very important, but a lot of people they don't even know who to vote for. So like what's some of the things that you would suggest that we can do to like get the older generations to like explain to you, because I know y'all want to explain y'all listening to us, but it's like this is a vision. So what's some of the things that you would say that we can work on?
I believe that voter registration, there's a little place called Isola, Mississippi.
Delta.
Julian Bond, Robert Clark, and I was out there getting folks to register. Somebody came down to the field and we went up to the lady's house. She started doing this for us. She's doing sign language. She's trying to let us know that you need to get out of here because the person in the Jeep has a gun. I believe in voter registration. Jesse Jackson came down, so many people, but we got to do voter education. Sometimes we're afraid to tell people if the deputy chief police is a good person, if Dr. Cassidy is a good person. When I was coming, they told us who to vote for. I don't want to get personal. We better get personal. We registered a lot of people right here on campus. And in one precinct up on the third floor, I believe, one voting day we had out of 3,017 to vote. And I think this has bothered us sometimes. Okay?
For sure.
It caused some folks to get incarcerated, to go to jail, to kill their own folks. So I think we need to educate people that when we are voting, it's going to bring more dollars to Jackson State because the legislators and those who are in the seat. Hello, but when we sit on our and think it's what it does for us, it does a lot of things. We're going to be talking about the stadium, Lord have mercy. But until we can vote the right folks and put them there, we got a little money coming in even since COVID, but we got to do it. And so I'm glad we got to register and we got to educate.
Okay.
Well, let me add to that, young man. Thank you. I understand clearly where you was coming from because sometimes politically, I'm out of sync with who I should or should not vote for. We need somebody who in the position, sometimes you know what's better for me than I know for myself.
Right.
That's what I heard that. Because we as young people, sometimes you go to the ballot, you got 20 people there, you don't know who's what. But part of it, I said all of it, part of it by plan, so you'll be confused. And guess who it confused? It confused we as a people, as a Black race. Because when you put on paper, I put it in that sense, that's what we don't get it. but that's a plan too. So we got to be smart enough, go beyond what they planning for me. Because I know as a black man, they didn't plan for me to be here singing the blues. But I know if Elton John, bless his heart, he gonna sing the blues, but he got to sing some of my stuff to sing the blues.
And it was Senator Eastland, if you know your history about Mississippi, who said, if you don't show up at the polls, guess who will?
That's right.
So, then,
We do have another question from the chat.
okay, we have two more here, but go ahead. Mhm.
Do you believe growing up around church/secular music influenced your career in the blues?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir. Sometimes the word wasn't even clear. Sometimes it wasn't clear at all for my granddad, who was blind, a deacon in the church, singing it. What I said earlier, I didn't major in music, Dr. Henderson, but I would hear my grandmother and my mother singing those songs, and it helped me to have love for people. Because without some of those sacred songs, I would be looking at some people not my color and could never love them anymore. But those songs that brought me where I am today. You know, we could name some of them, but we know some of the hymns. So yes, by all means, I tell people, if you don't like the church, go sometime. If we don't like the song, just listen at it sometime. Because the church don't save us all together, but it sure helped me to be where I am now.
Good thought.
Okay, we have two more questions way in the
Got one in
back,
back.
and then we'll come to you. All right, yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Bobby Rush, thank you for being here. And I was Jackson State. I attended Jackson State in the early 80s, and I'm still in this community. When the gentleman brought up voting, I want to say to the students here at Jackson State, you all can change Jackson.
That's right.
By your vote.
That's right.
If you vote, if you register here, this campus at any given year may have 4,000 students. If you are here for 4 years, you live here, register to vote here. You use the services here, register to vote here. I'm not trying to take your vote away from your hometown because that is important too. But if you live here, you all can elect a mayor because our voting turnout is low. But if Jackson State student body will vote, you all can elect a governor almost here. I'm just being serious.
That's true.
So
Right here.
those in municipality, you all can elect a supervisor. This campus has so much power. So much power. We had a surge of voters just last season because a group of people came to you all and said, hey, this is what it is. And you all agreed. I ran for office in 2013. We got 12 voters out of here, out of 1,500. Not because of the students that then didn't want to vote, they didn't know to vote. And as a citizen outside your campus, we're not allowed on your campus. But you all can go outside of this campus and find out who it is that you all want to see for the next generation. I want to see you all take us where we need to go. And you can do it. If you come back next semester, voting season is August the 8th, that you all may not be here. But if you're here, vote absentee. And don't take the vote away from your hometown. You go there, don't vote out of there. But Jackson State can change the face of Jackson. The student body really can. And you all are the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're smart enough to run for office yourself.
That's it. That's my point.
Okay? You can do this. Go ahead, man.
My name is Bobby Rush. I'm a social science ethnic studies major and also a singer songwriter. So my question is for you, Mr. Rush. Thank you both for being here for your contributions. More specifically, I wanted to ask, like, for 400 records, 27 albums, all of your accolades, what is one thing that has inspired you, kept you going, and what's a piece of advice you have for an aspiring singer songwriter?
What keep me writing is things that I know about, I'm concerned about, and I'm curious about. I write about things I'm curious about, and it's quite natural I write about things I know about, but that ain't very much. Sometimes I write about what I wish I had, could have had, or should have had. And that's what keep me kind of going. But you have to know, if you don't know how to do a certain thing for yourself in music, just know who can, because you can't do everything. Know who to find can do that for you. You know, I have people call me all the time from every walks of life. Bobby Rush, I have a song. What you think about it? Well, you asked the right guy, because I can give you my opinion about a song. I don't have to like it, but I can give you my opinion about it. And I put it, God didn't give me the gift. I can tell you what you got if I just hear it, you know? And I've been like that since I was a kid, because the first song I heard that I really loved when I was about 10 years old, it said, you get the hook and I get the pole, babe. You get the hook and I get the pole. We going down to the crawdad hole, honey, baby, man. I know that was it, you know? So if you got something like that, I can be a help to you, let me know.
Let me just say one thing real quick. Bobby had COVID.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
What keeps him going and what keeps me going, because I'm not afraid to call on him who is higher than me.
That's what I'm talking about.
My daughter-in-law called me from Nashville because my son plays with him. Daddy, Bobby is sick. Not just COVID, he was sick. I got on the phone, she said, call him now.
Right.
I called him. Pray for me, pray for me.
That's right.
I'm not talking about religion and organization.
Right.
But what keeps him going and me going and some others in here, that we believe that there's somebody
That's right.
that's greater than me and you. And sometimes we're afraid to deal with it, it seems like. Earthquake in Syria, guns shooting in schools and houses and right around here.
Right.
And we still want to party. That's fine. I love to party. I can dance, y'all. But we got to believe that there's somebody else besides us.
That's right.
To keep us going.
And I heard that story. It was a miracle how he survived and how he was treated in the hospital, left to die.
That's right.
On the hospital floor. I mean, okay, we're not gonna go there.
Right.
Go ahead.
I didn't.
Courage.
Courage. Yeah. Courage and knowing where your health and strength come from. I am a blues singer, but I'm a biblical study. I didn't say a religion net, a biblical study. I know one thing, that I can't do the things I've done. I am not here because of my doing. I know God have blessed me to be around people that prayed for me when I couldn't pray for myself. So I thank my father and all the people in my life, including Dr. Banks, and he would have been a help to me. Not only him, a lot of people around me have been some help to me prayerfully.
Did you want to say something?
Go.
Okay.
I'm sorry that I'm late. I'm in between 2 or 3 years.
It's okay, talk up then.
I'm sorry that I'm late, and it's just a pleasure to meet you. My mother loved Bobby Rush. I grew up listening to Bobby Rush.
Yeah,
But I want to say this, and I was listening on my telephone coming on campus, but to talk a lot about freedom and independence. Most of us think about freedom as I'm free to walk around, I'm free, I'm free. And I used to read Martha Walker Alexander when I was a small kid from Meridian, Mississippi. And she said, come see a free Black woman. And I heard you say, Mr. Rush, that in one of your songs that you wrote, that you loose the shackles from your feet and the chains from your mind.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Can you, it's been kind of tough getting Black folks understand that chains, that we see a chain in the mind. So I love you, the Reverend Banks, Reverend Banks, and I love him and Cassie, that can you talk about that freedom is just not free to walk around, free to be able to go to the store, you're able to go to different things. And that some of the things that we still do as African Americans still mimic those chains that's on our, that our, you know, our minds. So I don't know if it's kind of complex, but if you guys can just, because we talk about religion, how religion freed us, but can you just convey to the audience that freedom is just not free as I sit here and, you know, and think, but our minds still can be shackled up. And
That's
the
right.
blues help us understand those type of dynamics, those type of dynamics. So I don't, it's kind of complex.
Yeah, no, we hear you.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Y'all got me. Okay.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Well, you're so right. Freedom come in a lot of form and fashion, because you can be in jail and still be free. Because one thing I have learned, that you can't bind my mind, because I can think where I want to and vote where I want to now, even if I can't display it physically, but you can't deal with my mind. And that's free. I remember 1963, I was coming from Rock Island, Illinois, going to Chicago. Myself, Ike Turner, there was a drummer with me named Robert Plunkin. And this in this book too. A truck hit my station wagon and turned it over. Another truck hit that truck until 10 trucks hit each other. All 10 men got burned up. Ike Turner was in the front of me. That was my drummer and myself buried ourselves in the ground to get some help. When, I don't know what the police department or the sheriff department, whoever come by, and I was buried in the ground to try to keep warm. And someone said, was anybody else here? Everybody else dead, all the truck was burned up. Anybody else here? One guy said, no, just 2 niggas, they in the ground, they already buried, and let them stay there. And they left me there. But I was free.
Yeah.
I was buried, but I was free in my mind, because I know God had my back.
I just want to point out that's Dr. Cassandra McNeil, the director of the Institute for Social Justice and Race Relations. So she's actually a driving force behind us being here today.
All right, all right, all right.
We'll get to you in just a second. Go ahead and answer that
Yes,
question.
doctor, you must come to my classroom. You must have been there. We can graduate from here, from where I went to University of Pittsburgh, Mississippi State, and go across the stage with a 4.0. But if we don't know what freedom means.
That's right.
One young man told me in my car, that he cursed the police officer out. He said, but don't I have freedom of speech? I thanked him for even talking to me, and then I began to tell him, that's not freedom of speech. To talk back to your mama and your daddy and get ready to graduate, you ought to know better. So freedom for me when I left Jackson State, and that's why the church was so important. Freedom is to know when to speak and when to be quiet, Baron Banks. Ditto, ditto.
Well, let me just say quickly that freedom ain't free. That
I
you
like
have
that.
to be accountable, and you support the things that you love, you believe in, and you aspire for. So if you believe in yourself and your struggle to be free, then you're going to support those things that's going to enable that. And that takes time, it takes money, it takes your brain power, it takes your energy to help and to focus and to support your business, right? To beautify your community, right?
Right.
To be free is to really be free.
Freedom ain't free.
Of all of them
right there.
chains on your brain, thinking that somebody else's stuff is colder than your ice, okay? And it ain't. Support your businesses. That's how you really be free. Support your community, support your people, support this HBCU. Go out and tell everybody, come on to Jackson State. We need you.
One more.
Okay.
I'm just wondering about the blues and, you know, the crafting of blues. Do you have to be a misfit in some ways, do blues, to be outside of it a little bit, to be a stranger to what's going on, be outside the scene a little bit to make a story of it? So I'm just talking about craft and blues. So when you do it, you have to be kind of a misfit in some ways to do that.
I think you have to be kind of like myself, a little crazy, little urgent.
That's good.
And I don't consider myself being loving, but I don't consider myself being smart, but I'm smart enough to know I don't know certain things. I get other people to do it. But I think it's for different people, for different strokes, for different folks. And but for me, I think the blues is my life, is where I come from, is what I know about, is what I think is good for me and my family as a head of my house. And then I deal with all that is the blues.
And as we wrap this session up, I just know too that blues
Ain't free.
ain't free. Blues ain't free. And it's something that was evoked from our pain. I don't understand the misfit part that you're alluding to. I just think that it is a very spiritual connection. That moan that you talked about, tapping back into our ancestral freedom and knowing. And it's through that music and that sound that we become free and lifted up from all this horrible pain and terror and racism and all that stupid stuff that go on. Somehow we were able to evoke that spirit of Mother Africa and just bring it back, you know, in a form of the blues. And as we wrap up, I do want to, acknowledge a couple of events, the community night that's going to be held on March 31st this year, Glory Empowerment Center, hosted by none other than our esteemed professor here and national recording artist, Joseph M. Banks, will be present and performing for that. And the drummer?
Mad Drummer.
Oh, Mad Drummer.
Yeah.
And speaking of Mad Drummer, staging history, which I need to talk to you about real quick. And it's staging history is creative interpretations of key historical figures and significant moments through theatrical readings, music, and art. And it's a creative spotlight on these significant stories from the past, present, and future. It's February 23rd at 6 o'clock on the Rose McGee Auditorium stage. No, changed it. Okay, McCoy, Rose McCoy stage. So with those two announcements, we have to acknowledge our chair, who is Dr. Mario Azevedo, who has given us support. And we respect his presence here. The dean was here for a while, Dr. Soramikam, and she had to go. She's a busy lady. And so others, we just want to say thank you so much for being here and for listening and staying through the whole entire event. Y'all need to be giving extra credit, all you students. Thank you for being here. Go write a paper on it. Go write a paper on it, give it to your professor. They're gonna give you some extra credit, I promise you. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And what? Oh, the host, the Institute for Social Justice and Race Relations, brought to you by Dr. Cassandra McNeely. And we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that. And our brother, our great brother, Josh Cotton. Go man. It went down. Josh Cotton, thank you so much. Who else did I forget? Who? Yeah, our whole history. Okay, kids gotta go to class. Thank you so much.
Thank all of you.
Okay. Sorry, secretary.
Dr. Miles, Miss Miles.
Yeah.
Miss Miles.
Miss Myers, thank you. Thank